Imagine plunging into the endless blue where sunlight fades into shadow and the world above feels like a distant dream. Down here, in the heart of the ocean, giants roam. Creatures with hearts as vast as the sea itself, minds pulsing with secrets we've longed to unravel. For eons, their voices have echoed through the depths, a symphony of clicks and calls that whisper of lives we can barely comprehend. But now, in this era of wonders, scientists armed with artificial intelligence have begun to decode the language of whales. And what they've uncovered isn't the simple chatter we expected. It's a revelation that shatters our loneliness on this planet, hinting at conversations as rich and emotional as our own, filled with family bonds, shared histories, and perhaps even dreams. This isn't just science. It's the dawn of a connection that could change how we see every living soul around us. Picture those early sailors, battered by storms and salt, returning to shore with tales that ignited fireside imaginations. They spoke of monstrous shadows gliding beneath their ships, of eerie songs rising from the abyss like mournful spirits. Whales, those colossal beings, were enigmas, admired for their sheer power, feared for their mystery, and hunted for their flesh until rivers of blood stained the waves. We saw them as beasts of burden, sources of oil to light our lamps and bones to shape our fashions, never dreaming they held worlds within their massive brains, 6 times larger than ours. But in the 1970s, as the world awoke to the fragility of our planet, a quiet revolution stirred. Environmentalists turned their gaze to the sea, and researchers set sail with humble recorders, capturing the haunting melodies of humpback whales. These weren't random noises. They were elaborate compositions, evolving over hours, weaving patterns that tugged at the human soul. Those recordings, compiled into an album called Songs of the Humpback Whale, didn't just document sounds. They sparked a fire in hearts worldwide. People listened, transfixed, as the whales' voices filled living rooms, evoking a profound sense of wonder and urgency. This wasn't mere background noise. It was a plea from the deep, a reminder of lives hanging in the balance. The album fueled a global movement, pulling humpbacks back from the edge of oblivion, banning hunts that had decimated their numbers. Yet, even as we celebrated this victory, deeper questions lingered. What were these songs truly saying? Were they cries of love, warnings of danger, or stories passed down through generations? Scientists delved into bioacoustics, the art of interpreting animal voices, but their tools were crude. Hours spent hunched over tapes, straining to discern meaning in the chaos. Theories swirled. Mating rituals, distress signals, basic alerts. But the ocean guarded its truths fiercely, overwhelming us with data our senses couldn't grasp. Then came Dr. David Gruber, a marine biologist whose passion burned like a beacon in the dark. Exploring coral reefs and the hidden glow of sea life, he felt a pull towards something greater. Inspired by the stars, he drew from SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, where astronomers scan the cosmos for alien whispers. What if, he wondered, the most profound intelligence wasn't out there among the galaxies, but right here, submerged in our own blue world? Whales, with their ancient lineages and intricate social lives, might be the extraterrestrials we've overlooked. This wild idea birthed Project CETI, the Cetacean Translation Initiative, in 2020. Backed by a staggering $33 million from the TED Audacious Project, it wasn't about passive listening anymore. It was about bridging worlds, fostering a dialogue that could heal divides we've never fully acknowledged. Gruber's vision assembled a dream team, blending hearts devoted to the sea with minds sharpened by technology. Marine biologists like Shane Jarrow, who had spent over a decade immersed in the waters off Dominica, knew these whales intimately. He named them, watched calves grow into guardians of their pods, felt the weight of their family ties in every dive. His stories painted pictures of loyalty and loss, of mothers teaching young ones the rhythms of survival. Joined by linguists decoding human tongues, roboticists crafting machines to venture where humans couldn't, and AI experts unraveling patterns in chaos, this alliance pulsed with possibility. They weren't chasing data for data's sake. They yearned to understand the souls behind the sounds, to glimpse the emotions that bound these families across vast migrations. The ocean is a realm of secrets, its depths cloaking conversations that have unfolded for millennia, far from human ears. In Dominica's turquoise waters, where the seafloor plummets into darkness just beyond the shore, Project CITES team plunged into this enigma with a fervor that felt almost sacred. They weren't just scientists, they were explorers of the soul, chasing the voices of sperm whales whose clicks ricocheted like heartbeats through the abyss. Shane Garrow, with his weathered hands and eyes that held a decade of stories, guided them. He'd spent years swimming alongside these giants, learning their quirks, their bonds, their unspoken rituals. To him, each whale was a friend, named, known, cherished. His devotion was the heartbeat of the project, grounding its lofty ambitions in the tender reality of creatures who mourned, played, and loved as fiercely as we do. But love alone couldn't crack the code. The whale's language, a cascade of rapid-fire clicks called codas, was a labyrinth of meaning that mocked human understanding. Early researchers, with their clunky reel-to-reel recorders, could only marvel at the complexity, their guesses about mating calls or territorial claims dissolving into the vastness of what they couldn't know. By 2020, though, technology had caught up to curiosity. Project CITES' underwater studio became a marvel of human ingenuity. A grid of hydrophones, those silent sentinels of the deep, stretched across 20 kilometers of ocean floor. These underwater microphones didn't just listen. They mapped the soundscape, pinpointing each click's origin, identifying which whale spoke and to whom. It was like eavesdropping on a family gathering, catching fragments of joy, urgency, or quiet reassurance in every pulse. Yet, the ocean is no quiet stage. It roars with currents, hums with distant ships, and buzzes with the chatter of countless creatures. To hear the whales clearly, the team turned to a fleet of robotic allies. Autonomous drones, sleek and unobtrusive, glided through the depths, placing suction cup tags on whales' backs with a gentleness that respected their freedom. These tags were marvels, capturing not just sound but the rhythm of a whale's dive, the quickening of its heart, the arc of its dance with others in the pod. Was a click sent while hunting squid in the midnight depths? Was it a mother calling her calf closer? These details, woven together, gave context to the codas, turning raw noise into the threads of a story. By 2024, advances in sensor tech allowed these tags to record with unprecedented clarity, their data streaming into a library of millions, soon billions, of vocalizations, the largest archive of whale voices ever amassed. This ocean of data was both a treasure and a challenge. No human could sift through such volume. No ear could parse the subtle shifts in rhythm that might hold the key. Enter the AI, the silent partner that transformed clicks into revelations. Machine learning, with its hunger for patterns, devoured the spectrograms. Visual maps of sound that turned invisible clicks into vibrant charts of peaks and valleys. The AI didn't need rules. It learned like a child, absorbing millions of codas, noticing how a slight pause or a quickened tempo changed everything. It detected nuances no human could, tiny variations in pitch, rhythm, or what scientists called ornamentation, those extra clicks that adorned a coda like flourishes in a poem. By 2025, with neural networks refined to mimic the flexibility of human thought, the AI began to sketch the outlines of a language, one not of words but of intricate, ever-shifting patterns. What emerged was staggering. Sperm whales didn't just communicate, they spoke with a complexity that rivaled our own. Their codas formed a kind of phonetic alphabet, not with letters but with rhythms and tempos that combined into countless unique words. A slow, steady click might convey calm, while a rapid burst with an extra flourish could signal excitement or warning. This wasn't a simple code, it was a living language, rich with intention and emotion. The AI revealed that whales tailored their speech to their audience, adjusting codas based on who was listening, much like we soften our tone for a loved one or sharpen it for a stranger. In Dominica, where whale clans returned year after year, the team found dialects, distinct vocal signatures that marked family ties, passed down like heirlooms through generations. Each clan had its own accent, a sonic badge of identity that echoed their shared history. This discovery wasn't just about sound, it was about connection. The whales weren't shouting into the void. They were weaving stories, sharing moments, building communities beneath the waves. The AI's breakthroughs, fueled by the relentless data collection of 2024 and 2025, showed that a single coda could shift meaning with a tweak in timing, much like a human word changes with inflection. A mother's call to her calf might carry a tenderness that hardened when addressing a rival. These weren't random noises, but conversations, layered with social nuance, reflecting bonds as deep as any human families. For the team, each decoded click felt like a whisper from another world, a reminder that intelligence wasn't ours alone. As Shane Garrow watched a familiar whale surface, its breath a misty bridge between their worlds, he felt the weight of a truth. These creatures weren't just speaking, they were inviting us to listen, to understand, to belong. The ocean's voice, once a distant hum, now pulsed with meaning, each click a thread in a tapestry of lives we were only beginning to understand. Project CD's breakthroughs, powered by AI that could unravel patterns no human mind could grasp, had peeled back the veil on sperm whale language, a symphony of codas that wove stories of family, identity, and survival. But this was no mere academic triumph. It was a call to something greater, a chance to bridge the chasm between species and speak across worlds. As the team in Dominica watched whales glide through the inky depths, their hearts raced with a dream as audacious as it was fragile. To not just listen, but to answer back, to weave human voices into the whales' ancient dialogue. This wasn't about imposing our words on them. It was about learning their language, meeting them in their own realm, and discovering what it means to truly connect. In 2023, a moment arrived that felt like a spark in the dark. Off Dominica's coast, a diver hovered in the current, clutching an underwater speaker that hummed with a carefully crafted coda, built from years of AI analysis. The team held their breath as the sound rippled out, a tentative hello in the whale's own tongue. Then, from the depths, a response, a mirror of the same coda, clear and deliberate, sent by a whale gliding nearby. It wasn't a coincidence, it was a conversation, the first intentional exchange between human and whale. The team erupted in quiet awe, their faces lit with the realization that they'd touched something profound. This wasn't just a scientific milestone. It was a heartbeat shared across species, a fleeting glimpse of mutual recognition. By 2025, with AI models refined to predict and mimic codas with startling precision, these exchanges grew more frequent, each one a step toward a dialogue that felt like science fiction coming to life. Yet, with this leap came questions that weighed heavy on the heart. What does it mean to speak to a whale? To step into their world with our machines and voices? The team at Project CD grappled with the ethics of their work, aware that every click they sent could ripple through the whale's intricate social webs. Could a misplaced coda disrupt a family's bond or alter their ancient dialects? The ocean was their home, not ours, and the scientists tread carefully, guided by a reverence for the creatures they studied. They designed their experiments to mimic natural interactions, ensuring their voices blended into the whale's world like a guest's polite whisper, not an intruder's shout. Shane Garrow, who knew these whales as kin, insisted on this respect, his love for them a compass for every decision. The goal was clear. Any conversation had to honor the whales' terms, their rhythms, their time. This dance of ethics and ambition opened a window to a future both thrilling and daunting. The team envisioned an underwater chatbot, a system that could craft codas in real time, responding to whales with the nuance of their own language. Imagine a diver sending a greeting, a sequence of clicks asking about a nearby school of fish, and hearing a whale reply with a burst of sound that shifts the conversation. By 2025, advances in real-time AI processing made this dream tantalizingly close, with prototypes tested in Dominica's waters showing early success. But the implications stretched far beyond the ocean. The algorithms that decoded whale codas, parsing rhythm, tempo, and ornamentation, were a blueprint for understanding any complex signal, whether from the deep sea or the stars. Project SETI's nod to SETI wasn't just poetic. It was prophetic. If we ever catch a whisper from an alien world, these tools, honed on whale song, could be our key to deciphering it, a bridge to minds we can't yet imagine. Back on Earth, the whales' voices reshaped our own story. Their language, with its dialects and emotional depth, forced us to confront their personhood. These weren't mere animals. They were beings with cultures, histories, and connections as vital as our own. Each coda carried echoes of their lives: mothers teaching calves, clans reuniting after long migrations, stories of survival etched in sound. This realization, amplified by 2025's growing global focus on biodiversity, fueled a new wave of conservation. Whales, once hunted to near extinction,